My name is Bill Kalivas with LaunchPad. I'd like to welcome you to LaunchPad Live. We're very fortunate to have some great guests today. We're talking about job seekers, the job seekers community, and what's happening in the current job market today. And we're very fortunate to have some special guests with us here for the conversation. We have John Dickson and Nancy Nelson. Would you please go ahead and introduce yourself and your role and your organization for us, Nancy?
You bet. Thanks, Bill. I am Nancy Nelson. I'm the president of Humanix, and Humanix is celebrating their 25th anniversary.
Congrats.
So we have been in the staffing industry for a number of years. I've been with Humanix for 23 years, so also been in the industry for quite a while. As a staffing company, we focus on temporary, permanent, and then we also place consultants and contractors as well. Pretty much across the sectors, administrative, accounting, finance, management, manufacturing as well, skilled trades. Probably what we don't do is high-risk construction type of positions, nor do we do medical, direct nursing, and that type of thing.
Outstanding.
So glad to be a part of this community. We really feel like this is our home, and we also have an office in Coeur d'Alene. So really focus on the inland Northwest is in our area here.
Yeah, and Humanix has been a wonderful contributor to the community for several years when Julie Prafke started it, and she's been a great contributor. So we're happy to have you here.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So John, Mr. Dickson, tell us a little about your role and how boring your life is these days.
My name is John Dickson, and unlike Nancy, I'm brand new to what I do. I'm the area director here in the Spokane region for the Employment Security Department. And what, in essence, we do here, we run our one-stop employment centers. My background, mechanical engineer by training, 23 years at Boeing. I won't bore you with how I got into this position right now, but we got a heck of a staff, over 100 out at WorkSource Spokane, and our job is to help you get a job. So.
And we're calling that the employment office these days, right?
Employment is not the unemployment, it's the employment office.
That's right.
So.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're very pleased that you're both here, and we really appreciate you taking the time. With that, I'd like to just take a second to have John talk a little bit about maybe what's going on in the current job market today. What are you seeing? What are some of the trends? You know, how does it? What's the job market like today versus a few years ago?
The job market is great today, although you might not believe that. There are a lot of vacant positions in our region, no matter what you might be hearing. There's a lot of vacant positions. Here's what's different, though. Probably not the same positions that folks had about 3 years ago. If there's two words that I want you to take from this discussion, transferable skills. This is very, very important. A lot of job openings, but what we're looking for and what employers are really asking for is a lot of experience. And we've got a great community here that's our community colleges and that can help you get the skills you need in some of these new positions. So
if I'm a job seeker,
yep.
I come to your offices. Do you have some data that can help me understand? Maybe I've been in construction or one of those skill areas that's not as desirable right now, unfortunately. Yes. But maybe there are some other industries that are hiring. Right. Can you talk a little bit about some of those industries?
There's a great website that I highly recommend you go to. Google Workforce Explorer. We have got, for us data geeks, there's a lot of data on what are the in-demand and what are those positions that are not in demand right now. What we're seeing is some of us that are unemployed have been in a not in-demand position, but there are so many in demand. Let's say you're a customer service rep. There is a lot of things that you can do in the healthcare industry, in manufacturing, that might not be an area that you had been in before. So go to Workforce Explorer and you can do your own analysis. And we've got folks, if you come to WorkSource Spokane, we can help you through that also.
Maybe just off the top of your head, I mean, let me throw a couple out. I've heard that healthcare is relatively strong, especially in this area. Any other areas that come to mind?
Professional, technical, manufacturing, thank goodness, is also growing in our region. And these are all very good signs. And you know what's really good right now? As we come out of this recession, the large employers were the first ones to really start hiring again. We are now seeing the smaller employers are hiring. That's a very good sign. We've got about 15,000 employers regionally, and the vast majority are small employers. So it's very good news right now that's happening.
So let's talk a little bit about something that we believe in strongly here at LaunchPad is building relationships. And some statistics that we talk about constantly are 70, 80, maybe even as high as 90% of people find jobs through the hidden job market. And the hidden job market can be defined as, those jobs that never get advertised, and that's word of mouth. So Nancy, can you talk a little bit about how you work with folks, whether it's networking tips and other things that you do to share with them that can help them find work?
I agree. The hidden market, many companies do not always post their job openings, whether it's through WorkSource or utilize a staffing service. Sometimes they're just waiting for that right candidate to make a connection with them. They might be looking, not actively even seeking an employee at this time, but when that right candidate can fall in the door, that's a great opportunity. So I always promote doing the networking. And you may have already heard that, but I wanted to kind of share maybe a few tips that go with that.
Sure.
Because it can be an extremely effective tool. So when I say networking, what I encourage people in a job search to do is reflect back on, for example, coworkers that you used to work with, family members, friends. Who can you connect with and make a phone call? And one of the first tips is when you reach out and talk to that person, make sure they know that you're not asking them for a job. The first thing you say is, I was referred to you by so-and-so, or I really enjoyed working with you when we were at XYZ company, and you might have some connections or maybe some ideas of companies that are hiring.
Okay.
Ask them can I take 20 minutes of your time? Then I highly recommend that when you do get your foot in the door and talk with them, be very organized. And so I brought, for example, this is a folder that I recommend for everyone to have. Have your name and resume on the folder. So when you're handing this to that connection you're making. In that folder, you have your updated resume. With that, the summary of qualification is going to, you'll be able to talk a little bit about that. The other thing I think kind of that will distinguish you probably from other people making that connection, go in there with a game plan. Just say, what this is networking, contact the person. So if I was going to network with John, I would have John's name here.
I would rethink that, by the way, but go ahead.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
This is a good example.
No, we love John.
In that, have different industries you've already put your application or you've reached out to. Have some names of companies. One of the tips with that is John may say, oh, I know so-and-so at XYZ company. Then you have another connection.
Right.
Also, what will be helpful, then ask John, is there other companies out there that you know that are hiring that you can refer me to? And then it just becomes this networking channel. The next step with this is to ask permission to follow up with that person because things can change. So that's a really great tip. Yeah. The final couple of tips, so I don't go too long on this, is write a thank you note. And it's a handwritten thank you note. It is not an email. Sorry, I love technology, but a handwritten note, and then the last thing is follow up with that person. Right. And then you just have to establish the right time frame. It could be follow up in a month. It could be 2 weeks. It depends on what you discussed. So those are these are tips I give to people who come to me networking, and hopefully can expand that networking group.
Yeah, no, I think those are phenomenal. I really like that idea, and it really shows that you're organized before you walk in the door, that you put some thought into it, and you're really, they're looking at you like, wow, they're treating this job search like it's a job. That's probably how they're going to treat a position if I were to hire them. Exactly. So I think that's outstanding. Let's talk a little bit about technology, because you brought that up. And I personally believe technology can be a little misleading in that people still need to create those face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball, trusted relationships, and that just takes time.
It does.
And obviously we're trying to create an environment where people can come and plug into the industry based on the communities and the events that we do. But for some people that's difficult. It's not natural. You've been sitting behind a computer all day or in construction. Your job has always been word of mouth through relationships where you're a subcontractor maybe. And that's really what you've known for 30, 40 years. Let's talk a little bit about helping change people's personalities and how they think about it. And networking is certainly part of it. But in the beginning, let's say, John, for when people come into your center, are you finding that you almost have to have a mindset change. Is that right? And then what are you guys doing to help with that?
You do have to have a mindset. It's a different job market than it was 3 or 4 years ago. It's very different. We're seeing a lot of folks who have been employed a long time, 20, 25 years. And it's a different way today that we have to get a job. It really is. We call it there's email, we like to call it face mail. What we're really trying to do, it's still very important that you find ways of getting out there to get in front of employers. Things like this, going out there, but you got to have a plan. What we're doing right now is we're starting in January a new program. It's called the Pathway to Employment. We've done a lot of research, and there's 4 very key steps that we're going to be working with you on that I highly recommend that you do. This is a proactive job search you need to do. Number 1, focus your job search. Where are you going to work? It might not be in the same industry. 2, develop your marketing materials. 3, now you got to figure out how to promote yourself effectively with those marketing materials. And finally 4, ace your interview. And we're doing a lot of work together in this region. That's why it's so great being in this region. We're working with community colleges and Humanix and truly trying to provide you this type of guidance and advice across our region. But advice to you, get very focused early on what area, what industry you want to work in. It might not be the industry you came from. And then we're just going to get you, we're going to teach you, we're going to be there with you to get you there to where you want to get to. We're members of the Spokane Area Workforce Development Council. We've got private industry. We've got those of us in state government. And we're spending a lot of time on this. Just a couple months ago, we approved this. This is going to be something we're going to be adopting more and more regionally. So focus your job. It's very important early on. Don't wait for a job order to show up on Craigslist from our agency. We're still out there looking for them. But be intentional about it. Can it be frustrating waiting for a job order to show up that you think's perfect for you? Can it get frustrating if you just can't find that customer service rep? It's very important early on, and we've got in each of these 4 areas a series of workshops and community partners align to help focus your job search. This is where this Workforce Explorer, think about those skills that you have, these transferable skills that you have. And if you're a customer service rep, there's a ton of job opportunities in the healthcare market. You might never have thought that I'd be in the healthcare market. Very key that you understand where the growth industries are and then see how being a customer service rep can actually benefit folks in the healthcare industry. Our healthcare industry is exploding right now. Tons of opportunity. Lots of vacancies. We can't find the folks we need. So get focused early on.
Sure. Let's talk about that for just a moment. Nancy, are you seeing an increase in hiring in healthcare? Or what areas are you seeing maybe an interest or an uptick?
Well,
in that?
as John mentioned, the manufacturing sector has had a great 4th quarter. So, and what we're hearing is potential pipeline is still a strong 1st quarter. Beyond that, we're not hearing as much yet, but that's different than even 12 months ago. Again, it was usually 1 quarter out, not quite sure, but I think the manufacturing sector, the accounting, finance, we do see small businesses picking up, as John shared earlier. That is different than 12 months ago.
Yeah.
So what I hear from folks, and this is probably our 3rd Job Seekers Conference, is maybe at the very beginning, when maybe they just got laid off, and the news just came down. It's pretty devastating.
It is.
And if I'm down, I'm not at my best going in front of, a potential employer, let alone your offices. So I think, and I know this is true, your group's now talking about how do we help lift these people up a little bit to really get them to a place emotionally where then they can go out and, dress appropriately and have that positive, confident attitude, because in the very beginning, it's pretty devastating.
It's pretty devastating. You can feel very lonely. And it's a blow to your confidence. Some of us have been with the company for 20, 25 years, and all of a sudden we're told we're no longer needed. That's devastating. And boy, I tell you, that first week or 2 or 3, and then from my agency, you get the unemployment insurance. If you're going to go for unemployment insurance, it almost feels threatening. You got to come in, and we're trying to change that, by the way, right now. We just want to know you're not alone. You're not alone. And that's why it's very important also early on to even get into something like this. You're not alone.
Don't isolate yourself.
Yeah.
That's the one piece of advice I would give you is do not isolate yourself. You're not alone. You would be shocked at how many people are going through a similar type of emotional roller coaster. Don't take it personal. Connect with us, whether it's LaunchPad, this community, the job seekers community online, or come to events. Do not stay isolated and come join us and be around other people that can share with you. And we're here to support you. And there are so many wonderful people here in this community and partners. And you're going through a period here where we can help. I promise you that. And so, Nancy,
Yeah, I want to add one thing
Go
with
ahead.
that, Bill, is as you said, when you first get that notice or in your first steps of that job search, I think it's a good thing to reflect back on, okay, look back at your last jobs. What did you do well? Where did you peak in performance? It's not all across the board.
Right.
All of us have parts of our jobs that we do, but it's not our natural strength.
Right.
So if you ever feel like, oh gosh, I'm not hitting this, or reflect back and say, what did I do well, and where can I look for those opportunities?
Yeah, I've talked to
further?
so many people that did that, and they ended up with a better position
Right.
that was more to their liking.
Exactly.
And so it's not easy. We know that. No one's putting that aside. It's very difficult. But please connect with other people and stay, become part of the community, and really reach out because we're here to help. So, John, can you talk a little bit more about whatever you can, whatever you're capable of talking about for the plan for next year? Talk a little bit about, because I love the model that you're creating and leveraging partners, but also really the 4-step process. Can you touch on those briefly?
Yeah. There's a lot of very passionate people who are out there to help you. But we don't all, as hard as we try, we don't always work together as well as we need to. So as members of the Spokane Area Workforce Development Council, that's really our focus even going forward. For example, the first step is focusing your job search that we recommend. What are you going to focus on? What industry do you want to get in? Make this an opportunity to even do better than where you were. Okay, that's not enough. Now let's get these marketing materials, your resume. Different types of resumes. And a lot of us who might be 50 plus, well, I never had to have a resume before. You do now, okay? Cover letter. Some of these other things that Nancy's here. It's a different world now. We're there to help, and we're trying to do even a more effective job across our region on where else can you go, not just to WorkSource. We may find that you want to get into the health care industry. You've got most of the skills, the transferable skills, but there's some tweaking you need. And a big thing right now is a lot of employers are asking for experience, right? Relevant experience. Here's a great opportunity to go to some of our temp agencies, to get into some of these areas, to get some of those skills that they're asking for. So once we get that marketing material, does that guarantee your job? No, it doesn't. Now you get into the sales side. And this can be scary, spooky, right? Promoting yourself. This is where a venue like this is crucial. Get out there. What's happening, especially in manufacturing right now, there's been a hesitancy to hire. People are working 50, 55 hours a week now on average in a lot of these. And we're starting to get to that point in many organizations where it's that point of diminishing returns. People are starting to burn out, some. And you're probably seeing the same thing, but there's more of a willingness now to hire. Thank goodness, especially with the smaller companies regionally. So this third step is promote yourself. We've been working with LaunchPad. How do we get you out there into these opportunities where you can excel with that marketing material that we've got together in step 2. And as we get you out there, as you get out there promoting yourself more and more effectively with more and more confidence also, I can't guarantee you, but I can almost guarantee you the interviews are going to start, the requests are going to start. And there's some wonderful programs across our region. Everything from videotaping can be kind of humbling. So we're trying to do more as a region to find out those pockets of brilliance in our region And just to try to make it even a more cohesive thing for all of you,
Right.
that is more community-based.
Yeah, I think just to expand on that, I agree there are multiple sources, and I highly encourage that as well.
Yeah.
Use WorkSource, use staffing companies.
Yep.
There are over 20 staffing companies here in our area.
And they're good.
And it is a foot in the door. Our hires are up 20% over last year, where our clients did hire from our employee base. Both permanent and temporary. So it is, and what I would do is watch the websites. Each staffing company, some of us have common ground, but some specialize in certain areas. So that is a great way just to watch websites. For example, our website has an email notification if you're interested in administrative this. When we post a job opening, it'll shoot you an email because things change that quickly. So that's I totally agree. I think use multiple sources. And the other thing I wanted to touch on briefly is that I'm sure all those in job search realize you don't walk into an office anymore and fill out an application. It's online. And I think some of my tips and secrets to that, looking at from the hiring manager and the recruiter's perspective, don't just submit the button. So first thing, as John mentioned, is be focused. What is your job search? And let me give you an example. Let's say there is a position open at a Vista, and then another position comes open, and then there's 5. But what you want to do is focus in on what job positions are you truly qualified for, and do you have the experience and knowledge. It can be those transferable skills, absolutely, but do not apply for a job that you really do not have the qualifications. Because what happens when that job comes open that you truly are qualified for, that hiring manager with online data anymore will see you've put in 20 applications and it's from A to Z. And as a hiring manager, I'd be saying, I don't really know what you really want to do.
Right.
So that's the first thing. Only focus in on those jobs that you're truly qualified.
Right.
I think the second tip, too, is, and we kind of alluded to this a little bit, make sure the organization is a fit for you. And I think that's important. Go back and look at where did you excel in your past jobs? What kind of structure? What kind of processes? What, how was the mode of supervision? Do you prefer to work in a more of a flat organization, or do you want to look for more of a hierarchy where you can show that you were able to step in and step up into other areas? So the last key with that, which is just so crucial to get this for the online applications, is research that company. And that's where you cannot just submit your application and hope that your prior experience jumps out to them. So now most job postings are not going to have all of that information in there, but this is where technology and the websites are wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm seeing when people contact me and let me know that they found work, whether it's through online or networking or advertising or maybe an event that they came to, it's interesting, the people who are most successful are the ones that have a targeted effort and strategy that includes the online, the offline, building the relationships. They sort of have a 360 strategy. And I found that they're very focused on that. And they've gotten past that devastation phase because they know they have to.
And once you have that research on that company, go to Facebook. Go to LaunchPad and check people's blogs.
LinkedIn.
What kind of
LinkedIn's a great site.
What kind of an organization do you see that they have, their structure, their processes? Then what you want to do, again, reflect on what you do well, and you incorporate that into your resume, into your cover letter. That's going to get a hiring manager to stop and say, oh, not only do they have the experience, the education, they also have what we will be a good fit. So I think those are just great ways to get past that multiple hundreds of applications.
Perfect, thank you. So I think, do we have a question?
I was wondering if you could explain community jobs for the people that don't know about it.
This is a great effort for those folks who maybe you don't have the skills. Maybe you're just out of a high school, you just got your GED. Career Path Services has a contract. It's a super program where you can come in and for many months get placed with an employer. We use it at WorkSource. We're an avid customer of the Community Jobs Program. And the key is to get these skills. Google it, look it up. It's a wonderful program that we have regionally. And what you're going to get is that experience. You're going to get that experience on your resume. And we have seen so many of our community jobs folks become employed. We've even employed some at WorkSource Spokane. So great opportunity regionally. And we're trying to do a better job of getting this information out to everybody, because there are so many resources for those of us who are looking to become even more, either if you're unemployed or if you're underemployed. There's some great opportunities to get you even better jobs.
I think even to expand on the experience, it's volunteering. It's those types of things that can transfer and gain additional experience.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I've had several people that have come to me and offered to do projects, just so I could see what skills they have. And in fact, one wonderfully talented person named Joanne came to me and said, "I'd like to build you a 3D model of your logo." And it's right there. And that was the work of someone who's very talented, and just came to me and said, I have a skill that I'd love to share with you, and if you can help, share that with other people. And I love doing that. I love looking at how talented people are and then helping connect them in other ways.
We've got a big challenge nationally and even in our region. In fact, our retreat for the Workforce Development Council with our youth, 25, very high unemployment rate right now. We're trying to do a better job regionally of getting internships, and sometimes they're going to be unpaid. But the benefit of doing something like this, or volunteering with organizations, community-based organizations, as you're looking to get a job or improve your job, remember, your job is getting a job. We've already said that. And what a lot of employers are going to ask for is, hey, let's see, what have you been doing? Maybe while you're unemployed, what are you doing? And when you show that you've got a focus, you've been researching their company, you know what their vision is, you know what their strategic goals are, you've figured out how your skills mesh with them, this is called leading up. Don't assume that the employers know what you know, but when you start connecting with what they do, get ready, prepare for meetings like this, prepare for these networking events, and you will blow them away when they know. Because what are you really telling an employer when you come in that prepared, where you know my vision and my mission, right? You tell them a lot.
Just from experience in meeting with folks who have gone on a lot of interviews and had a lot of no's, that's where you really need the community and the friendships and the relationships to support you, and you also to support them. Because there's nothing worse than just tons of rejection. After getting laid off and then going on 10 or 20 interviews, and pretty soon you're thinking, this may never work. What am I going to do here? This is pretty devastating. Yes. And so I would encourage you to reach out. And then don't go back into that isolation. And use some of these techniques and these tips and meet people. And if you have a certain industry you want to go into, there are a number of associations and networking organizations that we at LaunchPad are really trying to gather that information and make that available in the communities that you're interested in. For example, healthcare. There are a number of healthcare groups here that I didn't even know about, and real estate organizations and construction organizations. So think about it. What if you knew about when the events were happening, or you could go online and see when certain people, maybe you recognize someone, or you go on LinkedIn and you connect with people and you see that they're going to be at an event. Well, take the time to do some research, go to these events, go to these networking groups, and talk to them. Don't ask them for a referral right off the bat. Go there with the mind of giving, of, hey, I just want to see how you're doing. And I'm looking for work. But you're not there about you necessarily only. You're there genuinely to build a relationship with that person. I wanted to thank our guests for being here, John and Nancy. Let's give them a round of applause. You've been wonderful. You're both excellent partners. We enjoy working with both your organizations. And for everyone watching, again, don't isolate yourself. Get connected into the community, use the resources that are here, share information, build relationships, use these tactics. They're wonderful. And again, we're here to help, and so are the partners. So I want to thank you, and we really appreciate you. You can go to launchpadinw.com, the job seekers community, if you'd like more information. And we look forward to seeing you at an event in the future. Thank you very much.